Hello, and welcome to Philip Brown's Computer Networking Lab. You're watching the instructional video called Inter-VLAN Routing. In the previous video, we configured a switch with VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. The computers in VLAN 10 could not communicate with the computers in VLAN 20. In this video, we will look at how we allow the computers to talk to one another again. The addition of a router makes it possible to send traffic between VLANs while still containing broadcast traffic within VLAN boundaries. The router uses IP subnets to move traffic between VLANs. Each VLAN has a different IP subnet, and this is a one-to-one correspondence with VLANs and IP subnets boundaries. If a host is in a given IP subnet, it is also given a VLAN, and vice versa. Even though this video is primarily on switches, we actually have to configure the router also in order to allow VLANs to communicate with one another. This method is commonly called router on a stick. We also need to configure the switch's interface that is connected to the router. The interface must be configured as a trunk using the command switch port mode trunk. The router's interface is configured using the commands interface fast Ethernet 0-0 dot and some arbitrary number. Most people will use the VLAN number that it represents. Also, we need to use the encapsulation .1Q followed by the VLAN number. In the previous video, we configured the switch with VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. Computers A and B were put in VLAN 10, and computers C and D were put in VLAN 20. I have just changed the IP address of computers C and D so that they are in the 20.0 network, while computers A and B are still in the 10.0 network. Computers A and B can still communicate with each other, and computers C and D can still communicate with each other, but computers in VLAN 10 cannot communicate with computers in VLAN 20 and vice versa. Communications between VLANs are blocked. This is the terminal window of the switch. The switch had its VLANs configured from the previous video. The interface connected to the router must be configured as a trunk. We will use the switch port mode trunk command. We are currently looking at the terminal window of the router. To set up the router, we have to configure the router's interface. The interface should be set up as a point-to-point sub-interface connection. We will use the .1Q protocol to accept the encapsulation of the switch's VLAN. Each sub-interface corresponds to a VLAN. Now, let's try using a broadcast ping from computer A to see what devices it can reach. Computer A is able to ping computer B and the router. Broadcast packets normally are unable to travel through routers. Next, we'll try to ping directly from computer A to computer D. Success. All four computers have no problems pinging each other when they are pinged directly. We have looked at the method of inter-VLAN routing and how it can be used to link separate VLANs so that they can communicate with one another. I hope this video was informative, and I thank you for viewing.